Mass Effect has always been the staple of open-world sci-fi games. The original trilogy was a spectacle of what can be done when a franchise is handled correctly, so if this is the case, what's the deal with Mass Effect Andromeda? In this video, I'm going to go over as many aspects of the game as possible from a gamer's perspective. Remember, I'm just one guy, so if I miss a few things, then I do apologize, but I've tried to go through as many as possible. As of now, I've probably put about 10 to 12 hours into the game, so I have a good grasp of pretty much everything. So with that said, let's go ahead and hop into it. First off, I think it's best we address the animation issues. There certainly are issues. At the time of recording, there haven't been any patches, however BioWare have made it clear they're looking into fixes, which is great news. The animations aren't completely awful. There are a few places where it really did ruin the immersion for me and made me laugh, but overall, once you play the game, you kinda get used to it. I mean, that's no excusing, it's definitely still an issue, but I'm just saying the animations don't all ruin the game by any means. The aliens animations all look pretty much fine, and most humans look kinda weird, but not awful. There's only one or two characters that are completely atrocious, and I can live with that if I have to. This is just my opinion, however. There are many people who can't deal with it at all, and that's fair, but this is just my personal opinion. Now, when you start the game, you're greeted with the character creation screen. You can opt for either a male or female Ryder sibling, however the game allows you to customize both the characters. The customization is incredibly limited, however, and really leaves your character kind of looking disabled, which of course isn't the goal. It's probably best to just go for the default character, but I managed to get a semi-decent male character because I do like to prefer the customized one over the default one. As for female, let's never go there again. Ever. Never again. For some reason, it doesn't let you customize the original model. It's like a separate thing, which I kind of found strange. You can't just tweak the default guy, you have to start from scratch. It's a strange choice, but I'm sure there's a reason. As for other customization, there are tons of armor that you can research and craft throughout the game, as well as weapons. Outfit coloring can also be changed, as well as adding patterns like the old Mass Effect games, plus the Nomad, the all-wheel drive vehicle, can be customized with a bunch of different decals. Possibly one of the most important aspects of a game is its gameplay. First aspect is that the Paragon/Renegade system is actually been removed in this game. I kind of found this strange as it works so perfectly in the other games, but I suppose it's nice to try new things and have new takes on the games. The new take gives you various choices. You can either be caring, intelligent, professional, or casual. These options determine the personality of Ryder, however there doesn't appear to be a tracker for it, so it doesn't work the same way as Paragon and Renegade in the way that these will affect the game as a whole. It more just affects the way your character personally is to other characters in the game. There are some choices, however, which affect the game, such as choosing which outpost to construct, which people away from cryo, as well as dialogue choices for outcomes of certain quests similar to the original trilogy. When navigating, it works very similarly to the classic Mass Effects, with the Tempest being your main source of navigation through space to land on various planets. One thing I will note, however, is Ryder runs way too fast when sprinting. It looks fucking retarded. He is just gliding through the world. It is insane. Please fix that. On planets, however, it feels way more realistic. The action is fast-paced and fun, and the combat is different to classic Mass Effect, but I welcome this change. It's fun and easy and makes for a good time when encountering enemies. Use of your jump jets alongside abilities and weapons makes things very interesting and satisfying. Use of cover is still in the game, however, it's far more integrated into the world, and you can essentially use anything as cover just by pushing up against it, which I think works incredibly well. Exploration is a huge new feature in Mass Effect Andromeda, with that being the forefront of the main story. These planets you can visit are huge and have so many quests it's nearly overwhelming, which I personally always feel is a great thing about RPG games, not quite knowing which quest to do first because there's so many. I found myself many times going to continue with the main story but getting sidetracked for a couple of hours with various things I found on planets or characters who needed help aboard the Nexus. Without realizing it, I'd taken a detour, which I absolutely love. Being able to get completely lost in a game world is always a plus. There's an element of platforming in some sections which is pretty interesting. You just use the jump jet to navigate through through these different areas, and it's a nice change of pace. A new addition is also the scanner, which is Mass Effect's eagle vision type thingy that all games have these days. It allows you to scan things for XP and research, and also gives you plenty of information about your surroundings if you're into that kind of thing. There's also several times it's used similarly to Witcher Sense in order to solve mysteries in a detective style. The way your squad works in this game is similar to the original trilogy with leveling up, however using your squad's abilities doesn't appear to be possible as it was in Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3. You can customize which abilities they have, but you don't seem to have control of them when in combat, which I thought was kind of odd. Overall, the gameplay offers a lot of variations, and with so much to do, see, and kill, you'll have hours of fun. The story of Andromeda is very much that of exploration. In this game, you're learning about the new galaxy at the same time as everyone else. There's no pre-knowledge like there was in Mass Effect 1. Andromeda is new space, and the main goal is to find a planet on which you can settle human colonies. This adds a new take to Mass Effect, although it's clear from very early on there is a threat that we know little about, and there is an underlying mystery with that. The main goal is exploration. Ryder is a great character. For some reason, he sounds a lot like Nolan North, even though he's not played by Nolan North. A lot of his sarcastic lines sound very much like Nathan Drake, and a lot of his serious talk sounds a lot like Desmond Miles. It's kind of nice though, because I recognize the sound of the voice even though it's not his voice, and I think this somehow allowed me to bond a lot easier with the character. To me, he feels a lot like Shepard in many ways, although he's certainly not a born leader. He's learning to lead at the same time as you, and therefore isn't top of his class the same as Shepard was. However, there are a lot of similarities, which honestly I'm not mad about. If it's not broke, don't fix it, right? The crew in this game all have great personalities. You can clearly see they haven't just copied over characters like Garrus and Liara. As much as I want a Garrus, I'm glad they didn't just copy him into another character. They all have tons and tons of dialogue, and their loyalty missions allow you to feel closer to the characters, and it reminds me a lot of Mass Effect 2. This game is just gorgeous. It's like outstanding. Every planet has its own feel and atmosphere, and it really makes you feel part of that world, and truly is a Mass Effect for the next generation. Going back over to the animations, of course they're dodgy and the faces can look very off at times, but it doesn't really take away from the entire cinematic feel of the game, and with the way it does it, it makes you feel like you're playing Mass Effect. The soundtrack to this game is just simply epic. The main theme reminds me a lot of the Mass Effect 3 main theme, the one that's played on the piano, and there are certainly some references in melody at least to the Suicide Mission music from Mass Effect 2, which to me is one of the greatest pieces of music out there. The music for things like the galaxy map return in a slightly new way, making it feel like you're playing the same franchise. Little things like similar music does a good job to make it feel like Mass Effect. This game gives good nods to Shepard, the Normandy, and the original crew from the original trilogy at different points, but makes it feel systemic and not all forced into the game. The main themes of this game, however, are different. In the original trilogy, you were at war with the Geth and then with the Reapers. In this game, there is no war on, you're simply out to explore and find a place to settle. It's clear things are going to become more than that, however, but conflict isn't the main goal of what the characters are there for. The way you interact with the characters, as well as the ranks that are given, reference how things worked in the Milky Way. However, you can see that people moving to Andromeda wanted to do things slightly differently, which of course would be the case. The game feels like Mass Effect with a new tone, which is exactly what I'd hoped for. It's not a straight copy, but it's not too different that it feels like a completely different game. In conclusion, the game for me has so far been phenomenal. I know a lot of people are annoyed about the animations, and I agree they should have been fixed before release. However, these issues shouldn't and don't take away from the amazing experience that this game has. My overall score would probably be 7.5 out of 10, and if those animation issues get patched, I definitely bring it up to an 8.5 out of 10. It's not at the level of the original trilogy yet, but how can it be? We had years of investment in the crew from the Milky Way, and I'm sure that with 3 Andromeda games, we'll have the same attachment to these characters and their story. BioWare have made a fantastic start to this brand new series, and I really hope to see a couple of sequels like we got with the original trilogy to explore these characters and this story more, because it really has been a fantastic setup. I hope you enjoyed this review. I tried to go over everything I possibly could. Let me know your thoughts on Andromeda in the comment section below. Let me know if you're going to be picking it up or if you already have it and what your thoughts are. If you like this video, hit that like button and subscribe to hear my thoughts on other games and to stay up to date. And I'll see you all next time. Bye!